Journey to the West, an audio drama series. Chapter 37, Part 1. We speak of Sanzang sitting in the meditation room of Baoli Monastery. Under the lamp, he read a little bit of Repentance in Water commissioned by Emperor Liang, and later a bit of the True Peacock Sutra. At about the third watch, he wrapped up the scriptures. Just as he was heading to bed, he could hear from outside the door the loud howling of violent wind. The elder feared it would blow out the lamplight. In haste, he shielded the light with the sleeves of his slanted robe. The light flickered back and forth, frightening him as fatigue took over. Putting his head down on the scripture desk, he began to nap. Even though his eyes were closed and couldn't see, his mind remained clear and his ears could still hear the sharp whistling of the somber wind outside the windows. What splendid wind! Whiffling and swaying, it swept up fallen leaves and floating clouds. Every star above was dimmed as all the dust on the ground scattered. It was violent one moment and gentle the next. When mild, it created music. When violent, it overturned rivers and lakes. Birds in the mountains choked, for they could not rest. Fish in the seas jumped out from unease, tearing doors and windows from every hall, angering gods and ghosts on every corridor. Vases were blown onto the ground as glass lamps fell and lights went out. Censers and candle stands became tilted, puffing ashes and smoke. Flags and towers shook until they were uprooted. In the elder's dozy dream, he could hear the wind passing through before picking up from outside the meditation hall a faint call of, "Master?" Suddenly looking up in his dream, he saw a man standing outside the door. He was drenched from head to toe with tears falling from his eyes. From his mouth, he repeated a single word, "Master?" Sanzang leaned forward to say, "Could you be some sort of evil ghost or spirit who's here to mess with me in the middle of the night? I'm not the sort who lusts after desire or anger. I am an upright and honest monk. By the edict of Great Tang in the land of the East, I am seeking scriptures in West Heaven and a meeting with Buddha. I have 3 disciples under me who are all heroes who can tame dragons and subdue tigers, fighters who can wipe out evil monsters. If they see you, your body and bones will be torn apart until you're reduced to dust. I'm doing this out of a heart of compassion and convenience. Hurry up and hide yourself far, far away. Do not enter my door of Chan." The man leaned against the meditation hall and said, "Master, I am no monster, nor am I an evil spirit." Sanzang asked, "If you're not those types, why are you here this late at night?" The man said, "Master, spare your eyes and have a look at me." The elder indeed focused and gave a closer look. Alas! Look at him. With a tall hat on his head and a jade belt on the waist, he wore a robe of yellow ochre sewn with dragons and phoenixes, as well as a pair of warriorless shoes with cloud patterns embroidered. In his hands was a tablet of white jade engraved with the constellation. His face resembled that of gods and divine lords. Here, the white jade tablet is called a 白玉龟. 白 means white, and yu means jade, whereas gui refers to a very specific shape of jade tablet that is square at the bottom and pointy at the top. It is a tablet held by the highest ruler of the land on ceremonial occasions. We will address it as the white jade tablet, but please note that the original text refers to a specific type of tablet with specific purposes and symbolism. Sanzang saw all this and was so shocked his face lost color. Quickly bowing to the man, he called loudly, "Which dynasty are you from, your majesty? Please have a seat." He reached out a hand to hold the other man's arm, but only grasped air. He turned around and sat down before looking again, and the man was still there. The elder then asked, "Your majesty, from which place are you a king, and of which nation are you their ruler? I assume unrest erupted at your borders and backbiting ministers mistreated you, resulting in you running to this place in the middle of the night. What do you want to say? Please tell me." Only then did the man bring up his past, with tears rolling down his cheeks, and disclose the cause as sorrow collected on his brows. He answered, "Oh, master, my home is straight west from here, only about 40 li away. A city lies there, and that is where I founded my kingdom." Sanzang asked, "What is it called?" The man answered, "To be very honest with you, master, when we established the home nation, the title was changed to Wuji Guo, the Black Rooster Kingdom." Sanzang said, "Given how distressed you are, your majesty, what led you here?" The man explained, "Oh, master, 5 years ago we here suffered a drought. Grass and seeds could not grow, and many died from starvation. It was quite dreadful." Sanzang heard that and nodded, sighing, "Oh, your majesty, as the ancients say, when the kingdom is righteous, then heaven's grace will go their way. I'm guessing you did not treat your people with mercy and compassion. If you're suffering from the lack of harvest, how could you just run away from the city? Go open up your warehouses and give your people relief. Repent your past mistakes and revive the kindness of the present. Pardon those who suffered injustice from the misuse of law. Then heaven's grace will naturally align and give you the rain and wind needed." The man said, "The warehouses of my kingdom were empty as money and food ran out. All my civil and military officials stopped receiving their salaries, while we also stopped consuming meat in our meals. We tried to mimic how King Yu conquered the great floods and suffered alongside the people. We bathed and took up a vegetarian diet. Day and night, we burned incense and prayed. For 3 years, all we ended up with were dried up rivers and wells. As we all hung in desperation, a Taoist of the Quanzhen sect arrived from Mount Zhongnan, the sacred birthplace of Taoism. He could summon wind and rain and turn stones into gold. He first met with my civil and military officials before coming to see us. We immediately set up an altar for him to pray for us, and there was indeed a response. As soon as his order tablet made a sound, in mere moments, heavy rain poured down. All we hoped for was 3 chi of rainwater, which would be enough. But he said the prolonged drought could not easily be undone, so he gave another 2 cun of rainfall. We saw how very generous and loyal he was, so we formed a bond of 8 vows and began calling each other brothers. Sanzang said, "That must have been the greatest joy for your majesty." The man asked, "Where is this joy from?" Sanzang explained, "If the Taoist is this capable, then just tell him to summon rain when rain is needed and create gold when gold is needed. What are you still missing that you have left the city for this place?" The man continued, "We shared food and bed with this man for 2 years. When it was once again the vibrant days of spring, flowers blossomed and women and men from all walks of life came out to enjoy the season. At that time, the officials returned to their homes, and my concubines stayed in their chambers. We and the Taoist held hands and walked slowly into the imperial garden. Suddenly, the 2 of us came to the 8-sided glass well. We did not know what he threw in that caused 10,000 beams of golden light to come forth from inside the well. He then tricked us into having a look at what treasure lied inside before murderous thoughts shut up in his mind, and he pushed us into the well. He then placed a stone slab on the opening of the well and piled dirt onto it before planting a banana tree above. Oh, poor me. I've already been dead for 3 years. I am a wronged ghost who died from falling into a well." The Tang monk heard that he was a ghost and became so frightened his tendons went numb and his hair stood on end. But without a choice, he had to follow up by asking, "Your Majesty, your words are not making any sense. If you've been dead for 3 years, then how come your civil and military officials and empress of the three palaces never looked for you when they must attend court every few days?" The man answered, "O master, speak of his powers. They were truly a rarity of this world. The moment after he murdered us, he shook his body in the garden and transformed into our image without any difference. He has now taken over my land and usurped my kingdom. My officials, along with my empress and concubines, all belong to him now." Sanzang said, "Your Majesty, that's rather cowardly of you." The man asked, "How so?" Sanzang explained, "Your Majesty, the monster may have some magical capabilities. He turned into your image and claimed your kingdom. Your officials cannot recognize him, and your concubines are kept in the dark. But you know exactly how you died. Why didn't you file a report to King Yan in the underworld bureaus and give an account of the injustice that you suffered?" The man said, "His powers extend to his familiarity with the bureaucracy as well. The city guardians often enjoy a drink with him, and the dragon kings of the seas are close to him. The god of Mount Tai is his best friend, and the 10 kings of the underworld are his brothers of another name. For that, I have nowhere to file a lawsuit." Sanzang said, "Your Majesty, if you have no way of suing him in the world below, what are you doing here in the world above?" The man said, "Oh, master, I'm just a wronged soul. How dare I come to your doors? Before the mountain gate are the heavenly guardians, 6 gods of the ordinal Ding and 6 gods of the ordinal Jia, guardians of the 5 quarters, 4 chroniclers of time, and 18 divine protectors of the monastery, all following you closely. Just now, they ordered the divine wanderer of the night to send me inside with a divine gust. They told me that my 3 years of calamity are coming to an end, and instructed me to come pay my respect to you, master. They said you have an eldest disciple under you who is called the heaven-equaling great sage, and is extremely capable of subduing monster spirits. I have come now to pay my respect with the utmost sincerity. I beg with all my heart that you can come to my kingdom, capture the monster, and right all the wrongs. We will pay you back with everything we have for your deep favors." Sanzang said, "Your Majesty, are you coming to ask my disciple to take out the monster for you?" The man said, "Indeed, indeed." Sanzang said, "My disciple is not very useful for other things, but subduing monsters suits him perfectly. Oh, Your Majesty, even though we can task him with capturing the monster, there might be some difficulties when it comes to the rationale." The man asked, "How so?" Sanzang explained, "If the monster is so powerful and transformed into your spitting image, then all the officials must be amiable with him, while the concubines of the 3 palaces are enamored of him. My disciple may have powers, but he would not dare disrupt without cause. If the officials arrested us and accused us of trying to topple a nation, we would be tried for the crime of high treason and trapped in the city. Isn't that rather self-defeating, like drawing a tiger but ending up with a dog, and carving a swan but only managing a duck?" The man said, "I've still got someone in the royal court." Sanzang said, "That's wonderful, wonderful. It must be some prince or high official who was sent to a command post elsewhere." The man answered, "No, I've got a crown prince in the palace. He's my heir by blood." Sanzang asked, "And I'd assume the crown prince has been stripped of his titles by the monster?" The man said, "No, he is still present in the Hall of Gold Carriage and the Tower of 5 Phoenixes. Sometimes he discusses books with the scholars, and sometimes he rises to the throne alongside the Taoist. 3 years since the incident, the crown prince has been forbidden to enter the royal residence and kept from meeting the queen." Sanzang asked, "Why is that?" The man said, "This is a trick of the monster. He fears that if mother and son meet together, they will figure out what is unusual through casual chatting and let the truth out. That's why he is keeping them from seeing each other. It's how he gets to stay in place forever. Sanzang said, Your calamities may be heavenly destined, but it is quite similar to mine. Back then, my father was murdered by an evil man on water whom later kidnapped my mother. 3 months later, she gave birth to me. I managed to survive on water and had my dear teacher of Golden Hill Temple save and raise me to adulthood. I can still remember my childhood without father and mother, and the crown prince here has also lost both parents. Feeling sorry, he then asked, Even if you have a crown prince at court, how am I supposed to see him? The man asked, Why can't you see him? Sanzang explained, Well, he's guarded by the monster. If he can't even see his birth mother, then what reason can a monk like myself give in order to see him? The man said, He will leave court tomorrow morning. Sanzang asked, What for? The man answered, Tomorrow morning he will lead 3,000 horsemen along with their hawks and hounds out from the city for a hunting trip. Master must have a meeting with him. When you do, tell him everything I just told you. He will certainly believe you. Sanzang said, He's only of fleshly eyes and a mortal body. The monster has tricked him in court. Every day he addresses the creature as King Father. How can he believe my words? The man said, If that's what you are fearing, I will leave an item with you as authentication. Sanzang asked, What is it? The man then put down the white jade tablet inlaid with gold he held in his hands before saying, This thing can be used as visible proof. Sanzang asked, What about this item? The man explained, Ever since the Taoist transformed into my image, this item has been the only thing he was missing. When he returned to the palace, he said that the Taoist who could summon rain stole the tablet. So for 3 years he has been without it. If my crown prince sees this, it will remind him of me, and he is certain to seek vengeance. Sanzang then said, Fine, I will keep the item and have my disciple handle the matter for you. Will you be waiting for us somewhere? The man said, I dare not wait here. Once I leave, I will ask the divine wanderer of the night to once again use the divine wind and send me to the residential quarters of the royal palace. I will appear in the dreams of my queen and tell mother and son to unite as one, like how you, master, share the same goal with your disciples. Sanzang nodded in agreement. You shall get going now. The wronged soul then kowtowed as farewell. Sanzang moved forward to send him away, but somehow tripped and fell, waking with a start. It turned out to be a dream. Panicking, he shouted repeatedly to the dimmed candlelight, Disciples, disciples. Bajie woke up and complained, What do you mean, disciples? More like dirt on your sandals. Back when I was a warrior who spent my days eating humans and enjoying all the smelly and foul, my life was certainly quite carefree. It just happens that you left the family and made us escort you on the road. Originally, I was told to only be a monk, but ended up being a slave instead. In the day, I carry the luggage and pull the horse. During the night, I bring you piss bottles and warm your feet. Why are you still not in bed at this time and calling for your disciples instead? Sanzang explained, Disciples, I was just dozing off at the desk when I had a strange dream. Xingzhe jumped up to say, Master, dreams come from your thoughts. You always fear monsters before you climb a mountain, worry about not getting to Thunderclap because it is too far away, or start missing Chang'an because you don't know the day of return. That's why you think and dream so much. If you're like Elder Sun, who has got nothing but one true heart that is determined to see Buddha in the West, not a single dream will come to the mind. Sanzang said, Disciples, this dream of mine was not a dream of missing home. Just when I closed my eyes, a violent gust passed through, and there was the emperor of a dynasty outside the door of this meditation hall. He introduced himself as the king of the Black Rooster Kingdom. He was drenched all over, with tears in his eyes. So, in great detail, he recounted to Xingzhe exactly what was exchanged in the dream. Xingzhe chuckled and said, Enough is said. He gave you this dream so that he could give Elder Sun business. It must be a monster who usurped his throne and took over the nation. Let me expose the fraud and take out that monster spirit. merit will be complete where my rod reaches. Sanzang said, Disciple, he said that monster has great magical powers. Xingzhou replied, As if I am afraid of that. He shall soon know of Elder Sun's arrival, but I will make it too late for him to make an escape. Sanzang added, I also remember he left a treasure as authentication. Bajie said, Don't make a fuss, master. It's only a dream. Why are you taking it seriously? Shao Monk said, Do not fall for the honesty of the honest. Guard against the unkindness of the kind. Let's light the fire, open the door, and have a look. Xingzhou indeed opened the door. Together they saw that, under the light of the stars and moon, on the edge of the steps, there really was a white jade tablet inlaid with gold. Bajie approached and picked it up, asking, Big brother, what is this thing? Xingzhou answered, It's a treasure kings hold in their hands called Yu Gui, the jade tablet. Oh, master, with this item present, the matter must be real. Leave everything to Elder Sun tomorrow as I capture the monster, but you will have to suffer 3 instances of misfortune. Bajie said, Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. It was only a dream you had, but you had to tell him. When does he ever run out of tricks on people? Now he's giving you 3 instances of misfortune. Sanzang returned inside to ask, What 3 instances? Xingzhou answered, Tomorrow, I would like you to take blame, take abuse, and take a hit. Bajie laughed and said, Just 1 is difficult enough. How could anyone take all 3? The tongue monk was a clever one, so he asked, Oh, disciple, what do you mean by these 3 instances? Xingzhou said, No need to get into it. Let me just give you 2 things. Splendid great sage. He pulled a hair, blew divine breath onto it before calling, Change, and it turned into a box lacquered with red and gold. He put the white jade tablet inside before saying, Master, you will hold this thing in your hands. When morning comes, you will put on your brocade gashaya and chant scriptures in the main hall. I will head to the city then. If there is really a monster, I will kill it off and leave some sort of feat in this place. If not, we can still keep ourselves from getting into trouble. Sanzang said, Very true, very true. Xingzhou said, It would be one thing if the crown prince never left the city, but if he does come out as the dream predicted, then I will certainly lure him to come see you. Sanzang asked, How should I greet and inform him when he sees me? Xingzhou answered, When he arrives, I will come tell you first. You will then open up the box a little bit. I will transform into a tiny monk about 2 cun tall and sneak inside. You will hold me in your hands together with the rest. When the crown prince enters the monastery, he is sure to pay respect to Buddha. You will pay no attention to him no matter how he prostrates. He is certain to have you arrested for not making a move. But you will let him take you away. Let him hit you, bind you, kill you, doesn't matter. Sanzang said, Oh dear, but his military orders mean a great deal. What happens if he really wants me killed? Xingzhou said, Worry not, you've got me. If we ever get to that critical point, I will, of course, keep you safe. When he asks, tell him you're an envoy from the land of the East, a monk who is heading to West Heaven to see Buddha and seek scriptures, as well as to offer treasures. He will ask you what treasures you've got. You will introduce the brocade gashaya to him before saying that this is merely a 3rd-rate treasure, and that you've still got the 1st-rate and 2nd-rate treasures. When the question arises, you will tell him that there is a treasure inside this box, which knows everything that happened in the 500 years of the past, 500 years of the future, and 500 years of the present, making it a total of 1,500 years. Then you will let Elder Sun out before I tell the crown prince everything that was told to us in the dream. If he believes our words, we will go and take down that monster spirit. On one hand, it is revenge on behalf of his king father, and on the other hand, we can leave a good name. If he refuses to believe, we can then show him the white jade tablet. I only fear that he's too young to recognize it. Sanzang heard that and became overjoyed, saying, Oh, disciple, this plan is absolutely amazing. But when it comes to the treasures, one is the brocade gashaya, the other is a white jade tablet. What is the name of the treasure you are transforming into? Xingzhou answered, Just call it 立地货. Here, 立 means to make, or to establish. 帝 means emperor, and 货 refers to goods. So the title can roughly be translated into the king-making item. Sanzang thereby took everything he said to heart. Master and disciples barely slept that night and longed till the skies lit up, wishing they could summon the sun with a nod and disperse the stars with just their breaths.